Hello everyone. In this video, we are going to see how we can import a feature file directly into CITS and then create test cases out of it. Now, the feature file that we are going to import is this one that you're seeing on the screen. It's a purchase process feature with a description as a user, I want to be able to purchase the products in my cart so that I can receive them at my address. Fairly simple. The scenario goes something like this. Given I'm logged into my account, so it's a pretty generic statement. It's not like I click on the login button after entering the username and password. Nothing like that. It's just a fairly simple statement like I'm logged into my account. I have added a product to my cart. I complete the checkout process, and then I should be able to successfully complete the purchase. Okay, now how do I import this feature file into CITS? So I will head over to CITS, and I've created a sample project, BDD. And now if I go to Tools and go to BDD, I have the option of importing a feature file. Click on Import, and if I go to Home, this is where I have stored or saved this purchase.feature. I also have a login.feature which I'm going to import at a later point in time, but as of now, I'm going to move forward with purchase.feature, and I click on Open. As soon as I do that, I have a purchase process test scenario created, and if I expand that, a successful checkout test case getting created. And if I double click on this, I see that the steps have also been recorded. Well, not really recorded, but have been uh, added. And these refer to step definitions where um, the given and when then statements, which I had mentioned in my feature file, are sequentially added. So if I try to do a mapping, I see successful checkout, which is the name of the scenario, basically refers to the name of the test case within CITS, and the purchase process, which is the name of the feature, essentially is the name of the scenario. And every step given and when then, and if I had written more, would have come here as the test steps under step definitions. Now, if you're familiar with how CITS works, so this one is the name of the reusable component, and then this one is the name of the action that is under the reusable component. So if I look here at the reusable component, I have a step definitions reusable created, and underneath that I have uh, these Gherkin statements getting created as reusable components. Okay, this is fairly simple, fairly logical, because this is exactly how we would want to execute or rather create a test case from a BDD file, a feature file, where I have these Gherkin statements as my reusable, so step definitions, which are part of my test case. Now I would be able to create, let's say, uh, my glue code, which is my sequence of steps inside this. So now if I say I am logged into my account, uh, if I step into this one, now here I have the liberty to create my own steps, um, which correspond to logging into my account. And that's what we're going to do now. Okay, so this is the application source demo for which the feature file was written. And let's go ahead and let's start creating this. Now, typically, I would take the shortest possible approach to create these steps. So what I will do is I'm going to create a new um, scenario, and I'm going to call it the login scenario, and I'm going to say uh, valid data. So I'm going to log in with valid data into the application. Um, so the best way to approach this is to start recording. So I go to kids, under login with valid data, I start my recorder. So the first step is opening of the browser. Okay. Then the username is standard underscore user. Password is secret underscore sauce. Then click on login, and then I'm into the application. Please bear in mind that we would not pay too much of attention to these steps because this is not really important for us at this point in time. We have a lot of videos where we have spoken about these test cases and test case creation. Um, this primarily focuses on the behavior driven testing that we can do with kids, right? So we would speed through the recording process. So under login, and this is all that I would do. I would open the browser, I would enter the username, I would enter the password, click on login, and one more thing that I can do is I can assert that if products is this text products is displayed. So I'm going to do a right click, Cognizant intelligent descriptor element verify element displayed. Yeah, so I've added an assertion. Now this will tell me whether the login has been successful or not. Okay, now here I will stop my recording. Okay, so I have a reusable called login with valid data. Now my first step definition is I am logged into my account. Okay, now what I will do is I'm going to drag and drop this reusable into my first step definition, which is I am logged into my account. Then the next step definition is I have added a product to my cart. Okay, so I'm going to create a new reusable, and I'm going to say um, product, and I'm going to say um, add to cart. Now, my second step definition product to my cart. Um, I can already start recording from here onwards inside this step definition itself, but I prefer not to. I always believe that if we create these reusables and keep it handy, then at a later point in time, if we have more step definitions coming in, then we can only add these reusables to these step definitions and make it more atomic in nature. Okay, so I would move forward and record the steps for adding a product to the cart. Okay, now currently I'm on this page where we land immediately after login. So I'll start my recorder and I'm going to say, okay, I'm going to add Sauce Labs Bike Lite. Yeah, and I'm going to click on add to cart for this one. And if I go inside the cart, I should be able to do a very quick assertion that Sauce Labs Bike Lite is present or not. I'm going to do right click, Cognizant Intelligent Descriptor element, assert element displayed. Very good. So I have added these three steps, which is adding a product to the cart. Yeah, and I'm going to stop the recorder. then my next step or next step definition is I complete the checkout process. No, but before that, I'm going to drag and drop this reusable to my previous step definition, which is I have added a product to my cart. Okay. Now I would move forward. I complete the checkout process. So under this product reusable, I'm going to create another a reusable called checkout, and I would proceed with the recording. So here I will click on the recorder, of course, and then checkout. So after clicking on checkout, I will fill up the information here. So I would say Ashish, surname, and the zip code. And then I will click on continue. Yeah. Then I would also do an assertion of the total price that I see. So I would do right click, the same extension, element, um, and in this case, I would say element text, and I would say assert element text equals, because I want to validate $10.79, right? So I'm going to validate this. I'm going to save this, and then I'm going to finish. So this is where I stop for this reusable, where I'm going to do a checkout. So I'm going to close the recording, and I go to I complete the checkout process step definition, drag and drop this reusable, and I'm done. And then finally, I should be able to successfully complete the purchase. So this is the final reusable, and here I'm going to say let's create one more reusable called success. Now here what I will do is I will go to the screen and I'm going to quickly assert this message. So the recorder, sorry, let's start the recorder on the recorder, and I'm going to say element uh, displayed. Yeah, that's it. That's all that I will do. And then the recorder can be closed. And then in the final step definition, I can add this reusable as well. Okay, so essentially what I have done is I have added a few reusables of my choice because I want to use them for future uh, feature files that will come in, and using those reusables I have filled in the step definitions. So all my step definitions, I'm going through them one by one, are now filled in with the appropriate um, uh, reusables from kits, okay, which I created only by recording. But of course, you have the liberty to record them, spy and add the objects and create your own test cases, and or you can just do this manually, whatever suits you. Okay, so now that your test case is created, it's time to just quickly run it and see if everything is okay or not. And if I just select Chrome as a browser, give it a go. Okay, I see that the execution has passed, and if I open the result, I see that all the steps have been successfully completed with all the assertions being properly done. Okay, so that was fairly simple. what we essentially needed to do was just go to Tools, BDD, and import the feature file, and then the feature files come in with the step definitions, and then it's up to us how we fill up these step definitions. There's one other thing that I will show you. That is, I'm going to import another feature file, and this feature file is that of a login process. Now, the difference between this feature file and this one is um, this login process feature file has examples. And what I will also do is I will also add a tag, and I will add a tag called smoke test. So this one doesn't have a tag, doesn't have examples, but this one has a tag and has some examples. And the feature file is fairly simple. It says it is just login validations, and it has these steps where I'm on the login page. It's more or less an imperative way of writing. So I'm on the login page, I enter the username and password, and the data is picked up from these examples. And click on the login button, then I should see the certain text on the screen. So for the invalid user, locked out user, I should see an error message. Yeah, so fairly simple. Now let's see what happens when we import this kind of a feature file into CITS. So I go to Tools, BDD, import feature file, go to that location where the feature file is stored. Login feature is the one that I want to import. Open. Now, if you see, the login process scenario got created automatically, and the login validations also got created. So login process is the name of the feature, which is the name of the scenario, and login validations is the name of the scenario outline. Here is the name of the test case. And these steps got added as step definitions, these individual steps, and the examples here got automatically added as a data sheet, right? Now, this is very, very important. Um, all these data uh, got added to a data sheet whose name is equal or is the same as that of the test case. Here, in this case, the name of this example is the same as that of the scenario outline. Okay, so this is how the data got populated inside CITS also. The three columns, username, password, and the screen text. Username, password, and the screen text. And one other thing is, if I click on this test case and if I click on this tag icon, I will see that a new tag called smoke test has been added automatically, has been created and automatically added to the test case. So we have a full uh, import of this feature file inside CITS. Now, what we have to do is, of course, fill up these step definitions with the screen level implementations. But for the login process, we are not going to do this. We are this is just to show you how the import of the data looks like, how the import of the tags look like. For the purchase process, I've already created or rather filled up the step definitions with these reusables. In the next scenario, we're going to see how we will run this test case via Azure DevOps and how we can generate a BDD style reporting. See you in the next video.